Mate, can you hear me?
Yeah, how are
Yeah, good. How are you?
you? Good, mate. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Has been. What's happening?
Oh, not much, mate. Just got an MRI.
Yeah, what have you done?
Well, I did my quad last Tuesday,
Did
and
you?
then yeah, I'm playing the weekend and didn't really help it out. So
Yeah,
we didn't want to scan it last week because it's like once you scan it, it's sort of like yeah,
gets in your head or
happens.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So oh, sorry, I had lots of head noise going into the game, so I knew it was strained. And then
It didn't
yeah,
it didn't look like it affected you too much.
oh, I was a bit rattled in the first five. I was just like,
Yeah.
what's going on here? But yeah, once I sort of got into the game, I sort of forgot about it a little bit. But yeah,
So
now I'm supposed to find out results in a few hours.
okay, so they'll tell you pretty much straight away how bad it is.
Yeah,
Um, so just how this works, bro. We're just gonna have a
yeah,
chat. Cool with that?
yeah. So yeah, so
And so I was trying to remember the first time I met you, and it was 2018, and we were both at the Rebels. I was only there for 2 weeks. You were there for a
yeah.
bit longer. How did you end up getting there? That's something I
Um,
never asked you.
yeah. So basically, in person 2017, like probably about mid year, I made the schoolboys, the Australian schoolboys, and then I was just sort of like, well, I don't really want to go to school anymore. I want to like try and give pro rugby a crack. So got put into the future force and was just doing that. And then I got invited to train with the force main squad here and
Yeah,
there. And then obviously they got cut, but the Perth Spirit was still there for 2017. So I was in that squad and so I'm from there. So basically, a week before I was supposed to go to my schoolboys, I was actually supposed to play that week for the Perth Spirit because Kankateka was playing for the Barbarians. I did my
yeah.
knee. Yeah, Shambek Lavuli dropped a guy, a lifter, right on my knee. Did my MCL, was out for like 12 weeks. So then
So
that
this so
Kevin
this was in
Foot.
the schoolboys. So this was in the schoolboys game
No, this was in Perth Spirit training.
for the Perth Spirit. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Perth Spirit training. So I was doing that, and Kevin Foot was the coach. Sean Burns was there as well, and Joe Barracut. All three of
Yeah.
them went to Rebels. So I guess I was doing alright, and I was impressing him a bit at training. So then they felt bad for me, and I literally did my knee a week before. I was supposed to go to schoolboys, and obviously the force being cut sort of just limited my opportunities. So yeah, then after my knee rehab was good, they just asked me to come down for a week in Melbourne. And I trained for a week, and then I ended up staying for like 3 months.
So so was this in year 11 for you, or was it year 12?
No, year 12, year 12, 2017.
Okay, so how old were you? How old were you back then? Were you 17 or
17,
18?
17.
Okay, so what was it? So you stayed for like a training contract, and was that your first
Yeah,
taste of professional rugby, or did you have some
yeah.
involvement with the
Oh,
force before that?
I had some involvement with the force before that. Yeah,
Yeah.
in
Okay.
like mid-year 2017. That was my first pre-season at the Rebels. First
So
pro pre-season.
so you're from Perth originally.
Yeah,
Did you grow up there? Went to
yeah,
school
grew up
there?
there. Yeah, born and bred. Yeah, one of the
So
few.
yeah. Well, I was going to ask. So that's a mad AFL town. How did you get into rugby?
Well, I was actually AFL, like more AFL dominant when I was growing up. I loved it,
Yeah.
but I was playing rugby as well, and then I sort of made the state under 15s before I made the state schoolboys for what's it called, footy.
Yeah.
So I was sort of like, okay, well, I made the state team for rugby, and I'm in the mix for the state team for footy. I just sort of went,
Yeah.
I'll just play rugby.
So you started playing. So you were playing AFL, and then was it one of those things where you had to make a decision?
Yeah. It was sort of like, okay, right. So I've made the state team not AFL rugby, and then I
Yeah.
was like in the selection process for AFL. Then I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do rugby, and then I committed to that. Then like
Okay.
2 weeks, like a week later, I'm like, all right. They're like, oh, Carlo, you've been selected for the state footy team. I was like, oh,
Which is AFL.
yeah, AFL.
AFL.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, oh, shit, bit late for that. Sorry, I'm in the state rugby team.
So the state AFL team would have probably been a bigger deal over there.
Yeah, massive deal.
Yeah. So you just went with rugby because you'd already.
Yeah, I was sort of a bit fed up with rugby. Not rugby, AFL. I was just like, lads running away from you. I love the contact. So
yeah, and seeing how you were built as a 17-year-old, I just can't see you fucking running around an AFL field.
I was very skinny. I was a lot skinnier. I bulked up in year 12.
So you've made the decision that you wanted to go to rugby. I assume you're going, oh fuck, I better get in the gym and start getting strong. Was that your next sort of thing?
No, because I was in the 15 state team, and then I did the under 17 state team.
Yeah.
And then I made the schoolboys team when I was in year 11. And I was like, I was a winger. So I was a winger. Then I was like, nah, I don't really think I'm going to make rugby as a winger. So I actually quit the schoolboys team. And I was like, nah, I'm going to not do this. I'm just going to gym hard, bulk up, and become a 7. Because I always went on the ball when I was like, the ball came near me on the wing. So then I just bulked up, sort of stopped all rugby for a few months just to really put some weight on because I was running so much. And then I got big, and then I went back to the academy, and they actually liked me there. I said, it's actually at first they said, oh mate, you're not going to be a 7. You're too small, this, that, like you're not going to make it as a 7. And then I was like, no, we'll see about that. And then I came back, and then I did a few training sessions with the academy, and they're like, okay, yes, sweet, you're a 7 now. So awesome.
I wonder how many kids they've lost over the years by saying, nah, we don't think. Yeah. And instead of going, well, let's turn them into one.
Yeah.
So when you went and did all that, did you just go and find a trainer and just join a gym, or did you learn it all yourself?
Yeah, I just did all myself. Like my mum's a dietitian, so that helped. So that helped me a lot with bulking up. But besides that, I was just in the gym, grinding every day, twice a day, just loving it. When you're 16, you just you start pumping weights. You absolutely love it, and you're addicted. So that was me. Yeah.
So tell me what it was like for you as a 17-year-old walking into Melbourne Rebels training for the first time.
It was pretty intense. Like seeing like Will Genia there and all that was just like, oh wow, I've seen this guy on like TV for a long time. So it was a bit intimidating, but I sort of just went with the mindset of, and I've sort of always been like this, like I'm just going to go my hardest. If they hate me, they hate me. If they like me and respect me, how good. I'm just going to go as hard as I can. And I think the way they sort of built their team down at Rebels is that they sort of really like that. So it sort of fitted me pretty well. And that's why they kept me instead of a week, the rest of the preseason. So I was just going as hard as I can. I got smashed a few times. I got my tooth knocked out. That's why I got a bit of licorice tooth here, black tooth. But yeah.
So were you in that little house the whole time?
Yeah, whole time.
So for people listening, describe that situation.
It was it was like in a school / like I think it's where people do missions and stuff. That was that sort of place, and there was like a lot of community living in these like dorms to our left, and then there's like a few houses and like a swimming pool. It's pretty funny. You'll be like sitting down in this place, no aircon in like middle of summer, and there'll be like little Fijian kids just sprint through your house, and you're just sitting down, just like hating your life because you're so tired, you have no money, and these kids like run into your house like and just like laugh at you, and then just run out, and you're like, what's going on?
Mate, I was describing it to someone, so I told my boss, the Rebels want me to go down and play the trials. He's like, oh, how good's that? And then, obviously they'll put you up in a hotel and, feed you well. And I'm like, nope, certainly wasn't that. We're basically in a Fijian church. I think it was almost a Fijian sort of church.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Apparently Marika used to stay in the dorms.
Well, while you were there?
No, not while I was there, but maybe a year or two before that.
At the start?
Yeah.
Mate, I think Sefa actually came through there. So Sefa, they discovered Sefa in Melbourne, and I think he came through that church, and and look what he's gone on to do. So
yeah, exactly.
Mate, so the 3 months is up with the Rebels. They decide not to keep you, or you just decided to move on, or what happened there?
it was sort of like, yeah, I'm pretty young. I'm not really ready to be playing Super Rugby. The squad was full, so it was more of a, yeah, just go back to Perth because I had opportunity back in Perth. They said, yeah, just go back to Perth. And
So was that when Twiggy was doing the World
yeah,
Series rugby?
yeah, Global
Okay.
Rapid Rugby. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
went there and did the Future Force Academy plus being full time in that force squad, and
Yeah.
then got a full contract in 2019 with the Force for Global Rapid Rugby.
Now, who's coaching? Tim Sampson?
Yeah, Sambo.
What was he like as a coach?
He's a good coach. Yeah, he's very smart. He's got a good. He's very his attack's very good. I like the way he plays.
Okay.
But,
So you went from there, and then the Tars came calling.
yeah. So after the under 20s, so under 20s, like all pretty red hot that team, and pretty much most of 95% of the team got signed out of that. So yeah. The Tars,
So what year was that? A couple of years
2019.
ago. So 2019. So it was like Angus Bell.
Yeah.
All the Queensland Reds.
Noah
Yeah.
Losio, yeah, a lot of boys.
Okay, so you end up at the Tars. How did that all come about? Did they contact you and express some interest, and you're like, oh, this is Super Rugby, I'm not going to say no to it, or was it like an academy deal, or what was
so
it?
it was so I had a pretty good contract offer from Global Rapid Rugby because Chris Alcock was sort of slowing down a bit, and I became more of the starting seven, and plus he got a real bad injury as well, so that sort of pushed my case. So and then Tars came through with this contract, and I was like, well, I can play Global Rapid Rugby, or I can like challenge myself and go play Super Rugby and compete with Michael Hooper every day. Like I'm probably not going to play as much, and I'm going to be bin juice, but I'm going to learn a lot, and I'll get a move away from home. But I didn't realize how hard it was, so I just I took that contract with the Tars, and ended up being moving away from Perth was easily the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Why?
Because like Perth to Sydney, if you've been to Perth, is like Perth's very small community sort of place. Well, that's what I'm used to. And then came to Sydney. It's a big city. Like everyone's got their own things to do, their own agendas. So it was very busy. And plus, I just started dating my lovely girlfriend Mia. So I just started dating her. So that was obviously hard. Like I've never really had a girlfriend before. So that was obviously tough as well, being away from my family properly for the first time. I grew up with 3 brothers as well, so I'm always busy with that. Family dog.
Were you one of those kids that didn't know how to cook until they moved out and had to learn?
No, so when I was bulking up, when I was 16, I taught myself how to cook because I knew that one day I'm gonna need to learn how to cook. I was cooking the whole time in Melbourne when I was there for the 3 months. I was cooking the whole time.
So at least you had that covered. So when you moved over, did they set you up like? So you land in Sydney. What happens? Are you there to fend for yourself, or is it?
Yeah.
Do they help you settle in?
Yeah, so luckily West Harbour's a great club. They're awesome. So they set me up in a good place. They helped me out with my rent and got me a bed. So they did that. So when I arrived in Sydney, West Harbour organised everything. It wasn't so much Waratahs. So West Harbour got Clint Hill to pick me up. He picked me up.
Man.
Yeah. Then we went to his joint. I stayed with him for a few months, and then like had a bed there and all that. Then Tars paid like a $5,000 relocation, so you can buy like a TV, bed, move your car over and stuff. So that's how Tars helped. But,
okay, so you were living with Hilly. You were living with Hilly. He's in Maroubra, isn't he?
Yeah, Maroubra. It was a gun spot.
So that's a nice soft landing, and he's a great bloke as well.
Yeah.
So so once West found out you were coming over, did they contact you, or did you?
I contacted them. Like, I was talking to Sydney Uni, Gordon, all these clubs, but I was like, no, actually it's been a Gutto. No, not Gutto. I spent a Cameo because I'm good friends with him and Harrison. Obviously, they're proud West Harbourmen. So they put me in touch with Gutto, and then Gutto, the head coach, drove from Sydney to Port Macquarie just to watch me play against the Country Eagles. So
Yeah, right.
to me, I was like, he really wants me. He's a good bloke. It's a good small club. Like they didn't have any Waratahs at the time, so I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely keen to go.
Mate, that's good. That's good. So you've, mate, I always tell people who aren't from Sydney, because I'm not from Sydney originally, I'm from
Yeah.
Coffs Harbour.
Yeah.
And when you come to Sydney, it's such a cliquey place that
Yeah.
if you don't grow up here and you don't have family here, it's very hard to make friends. Like, thankfully, we're lucky that we've got rugby.
Yeah.
But if I didn't play, I've been here for 15 years, and if I didn't play rugby, I probably wouldn't have a mate here.
Yeah,
You know.
same here. I still don't have a mate here.
but at least you get to go and like be around people every day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, your job is significantly better than my job. I'm in the warehouse all day with these miserable people. Like, so at least you get to be a kid all day.
Yeah.
So going into the TARS for the first time, was Rob the coach then? Rob Penny?
Yeah, but he hadn't arrived yet. He was signed
Okay.
for the coach, but he hadn't arrived yet. So it was a bit of a weird scene. Like we weren't really allowed on the main field when I first arrived. So obviously, like you said, in a new city, very cliquey. I didn't really have any mates, so that was tough already. Then we weren't really allowed on the main field. The sort of facilities aren't the best, so that's sort of a bit of a downer.
So where were they training? Were they training at the?
They're still at Daceyville. No, still at Daceyville. Yeah, so the Brambles. And then the coach hadn't rocked up yet. I knew the boys, but like they all had their groups and stuff.
Yeah.
So then it was tough, and we were doing this like sessions on the top field, which was pretty bad. Got a hamstring injury in my first session.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty bad at first, like for me mentally to go through.
Yes. So this is something that, like, how old are you now? 21, 22?
21, yeah.
21, 22. So how did you deal with all that? How do you deal with that?
I struggled, I don't really know. I just like sort of got on with it. Like I would have look if I moved again, I'll go about it a completely different way because I've learnt how to be alone and how to do things my way and stuff. So it'd definitely be a lot different. But if I could do it all over again and go back in time, there's a lot of different ways I'll do it. I'll try and force myself more socially. I'd probably try and get more of a hobby going in, more of like a routine instead of just like being depressed in my room and just hating life.
Did you? At least you're honest, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that, particularly when they're moving to Sydney. Like, I mean, you have a contract, so you're moving for a good reason. Yeah. But a lot of guys move to the city from other countries or in the country areas, and they really struggle with it as well. So I think you talking about this will be good for people. Did you speak to anyone? Did you get psychological help and do any of that sort of stuff?
I sort of just trucked through it. Like I had Clint helped me out a bit. My girlfriend was helping me as much as she could from Perth because we're doing long distance. So it was pretty hard. But I just sort of trucked through it and it was tough. It was a tough 6 months. But when my girlfriend moved over and I got a dog, it sort of gave me more to do. But it's funny because like one of the boys that just moved here from New Zealand is sort of going through what I went through. And like, yeah, he's finding it a bit tough and I know exactly how he feels. So trying to help him like find some things I didn't do.
I think it's actually more common than you think, mate, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I thought I was just like, I'd have full wig outs, like just not knowing what to do and stuff. And like, I'll get, I don't know. It was very, very good learning experience for me. Like I've come out of that 6 months a way better man. Like I could have stayed in Perth, been comfortable, but I put myself in an uncomfortable position. And now I've come out the other end and I could go anywhere around the world. And I'm confident that I'll be able to handle it.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. You've done it now. So anything you do now, you know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
How quickly did you play?
I played for TARS. So I played round. I had a good trial. So I got picked for round 1 of the Super Rugby against Crusaders, and I got 8 minutes. And then after then, I was just been juiced for the rest of the year.
Okay, so obviously with hoops in the team, it's going to be hard to get.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Much game time. What's it like being around guys like that every day in terms of learning how? Like he's one of the best players in the world, particularly in his position, your position. What's it like, sort of learning from a guy like that?
He's very to himself. Like he he's very professional. I think he has a very tight circle, so it's hard to sort of get in and, you know, get a good close connection with him, which is fair enough. I'm actually sort of the same in a way, but yeah, like just going back, it's just in out all business, and when you go, I feel like he'd just go do surfing and all that stuff, and
yeah,
it's all business when it's at rugby, and that's what I like that, because I feel like I'm sort of the same as well, which is a good thing. But then also sometimes it can also be a bad thing in a way, because some boys see it, you know, as maybe you take yourself a bit too serious.
Yeah.
If they don't know you, and that's why the Tars boys at first probably didn't like me a lot. I wasn't like bloke, because I go hard at training. I take my training pretty seriously, so I'm very focused when I'm there. So they didn't know me. They thought I was just some, I don't know, like weird 19-year-old kid that's just come from Perth. I thought I was an absolute weirdo, but now I think the lads like me.
They're starting to warm up. They're starting to warm up a bit.
Yeah, now they understand who I am as a person. That's just me.
Well, I had this, like, I actually did a podcast with Hoops, and like I got the sense that he's lived a very weird life, and you're probably going to live a very similar life. Whereas he's effectively grown up in the spotlight in a town that is not very kind to, you know, rugby players when they're losing.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was the Wallaby captain when he was 21. Like, imagine how weird that would be, bro. Like,
I wouldn't know what to do.
man, I'm 33 now, and I still think I'm an idiot. But at 21, I was a fucking idiot. Like, you know, and this guy's the national captain, and and that was what I was trying to get out of him, like, just to explain what it was like to be him. And I get the feeling Japan's been good for him. What about footy stuff? Were you just one of those guys that would just follow him and watch him and watch how he worked, or have you kind of got your own ways of doing things, or?
I sort of got my own way. Like I do sort of always try and like size myself up in a way, like in a competitive way against like him and all the other guys around the comp, especially this year, because I've been playing a bit of footy, so definitely always just try and size myself up, and I have a genuine belief that I could be the best 7 in the country. It's just more doing it and getting through more games and getting a bit more experience under my belt. That sort of law of attraction thing, I've been pretty vocal in it in the media as well, saying like, yeah, I 100% want to take Hoops' job and take all the other guys. But yeah, so that's just sort of the way I'm going about it. In a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. But you'd also see why guys would be a little threatened by that as well, because like you're a young guy who's fucking going for it, man. And you know, I fucking love it, particularly in New South Wales. We need more of that. So, what did you? Okay, this year, how's it been for you this year? Obviously, you played a lot of footy. You played some good footy, but there's been some, you know, fuckery behind the scenes at the Tars.
Yeah.
Like, what have you made of it all?
Look, it's like my first year in Waratahs was a massive learning curve. This second year's been an even bigger one. Like, yeah, like your coach gets sacked. Mid-season is.
Have you ever experienced?
No, never,
before?
mate.
No.
Never.
I have one.
Actually, I've had a club coach walk out on us a week before semi-finals, but it's a bit different.
Really?
Perth club footy, so it's a bit different. But like it was funny because a few lads I talked to, the older lads, always say, "Oh, mate, you know, soon you'll get better. Once you start playing, the lads will get to know you and respect you more." And that happened. And, you know, everything was going well. And then the environment was real good. Like, we were losing and stuff. Like, the change rooms were awful after those big losses, those first 2 big losses. But then, you know, we still had a good camaraderie off the field, and everyone was getting around each other. Then, like, that week, Rob got sacked. Everyone came in on Monday, and it was just a completely different vibe. It was weird. And then sort of, I guess we just sort of clicked probably a bit more. I think there was a bit more accountability in the group. like, yeah, if we don't play well, like we got Gilly and Witts, two new coaches. They knew us, but like they're going to be out to prove a point to, push themselves for that head coach role. So I think everyone had a bit more accountability in that sense, and we had some decent results. Like obviously didn't win, but I think our improvement from round 1 to round 8 has been like we've like jumped a lot in those space of 8 games, especially for a young group as well.
Mate, exactly. I think the Tars have improved significantly since round 1. But did you see that as something that maybe brought the group together?
Yeah, I reckon. So I reckon everyone was like, okay, well, that just happened. They got rid of Rob just like that. We could be next. We don't know what could happen. We got 2 new coaches. Like everyone came together, and I think everyone just started, gritting their teeth a bit more, going a bit harder at training, which then went and came into our games as well. And also Gilly and Witts both were driving that as well. Like, if we don't train hard, you're not going to get picked, and don't get picked, you're going to be on the outs from the club.
Mate, it's a ruthless business, mate. Professional sport, but particularly, the results don't always tell the full story. But at the end of the day, that's what you get judged on. So, I'm trying to Cam York. So he was the Rupert rep, my first stint at the Rebels. He said to me, this is one of the only jobs where a 20-year-old man gets judged every single day of their lives, and often publicly, whereas a normal job, you get reviewed once a year and it's privately. So it's a weird thing that you guys have had to deal with.
I actually never thought about it that way.
Well, you get reviewed every single day.
Yeah. Well, that explains why you're always stressed out.
Well, mate, like, have you been... I mean, obviously, it's been a good year for you rugby-wise. Do you kind of attribute that to maybe being a bit happier off field?
Yeah. Well, last year I was injured I was injured pretty much the whole year. I just had injury after injury after injury, and I definitely think that was because of my mental health and everything going on there. But yeah, this year's been good. I've been a lot happier, and I just think I'm in a better routine. I'm in a better living situation. Like obviously it was good with Clint, but it was in a little apartment, and like sometimes it'll take me 45 minutes to find a park, which is not good in your body. I didn't really get to eat because I was driving around for 45 minutes finding a park in River Beach. Then I moved to Mascot, and it was awful, full of cockroaches. So, but now I'm in Kingsford in a good living environment. I'm a lot happier. My missus is a lot happier as well. She's settled in a lot more, found a good group of mates and stuff. So that's all contributed, I reckon. And it's crazy how all that psychological stuff has a big impact on what you do on the field. And with injuries as well. Like I obviously got this quad strain, but that wasn't because of what's gone up here. It's more of because we played an absolute dogfight of a game on Saturday night, flew back from Perth to Sydney, and then did a big session on Monday, which probably wasn't the best thing. But
did you have to leave straight after the game due to the lockdown over there?
No, this was 2 weeks ago, so we missed the lockdown.
Okay. But, I know you played Melbourne this week, didn't you?
Yeah. But it was tough. Fly to Perth on the Friday, do captain's run, play Saturday night. That was a dogfight of a game. I think the ball and play time was like 45 minutes or 40 minutes. That's a lot.
That's a lot. So for people listening, I think it's anywhere between 30 to 38 minutes normally.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of footy.
Yeah, I clocked up like 9Ks.
Did you? And most of that would be high speed as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was a lot of high speed. It was just me, my lungs going. But so that was big game. And then flying on the Sunday, like 5 hours flight after a game. Not really the best hydration. You miss a meal because you come back to Sydney. It's that time. You lose a lot of time because it's 2 hour difference as well. So you miss a meal. Yeah, it's not great.
Did you guys have do you have a few beers after?
I didn't. I'm off the piss I'm trying to do 6 months off the piss. Where I'm at now, I'm at 4 months and 26 days.
Oh, you're a better man than me, mate. Day one of this year, I'm like, I'm taking the whole year off the piss, and I think day 3 I'll break it.
Well, I remember in Melbourne, I was 17. I was like, oh, like didn't really know what it was like to be professional. And then you came and we had a big session. Like, oh fuck, you know what? I'm gonna get a beer. And you just walked out of the shop. You come back and you just polishing these beers off. I'm like, is this what footy players do?
No, mate, no. Like, mate. So with that Melbourne thing for me, I didn't get paid the whole time I was there,
Yeah,
and I know you.
I remember you saying you were just like, man, I'm here just to get a cool experience and just have a good time with the lads.
Well, I just wanted to tick the box because I think I was 30 at the time. I'm like, I've never played Super Rugby. I've been really close, but never quite close. And I was like, to be honest with you, some of the stuff I saw at the Rebels, I'm like, if this is fucking professional rugby, fuck. It was just so much stupid shit. So I thought, fuck, I'm in Melbourne. I'm going to have a beer.
Yeah.
Mate, what was I going to ask you? The Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, when does that kick off? Couple of weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So you guys don't get a break between now and then?
Well, we got the next, 2 days off, back on Wednesday, and we're straight into it.
Okay, so
for a few weeks, and then I'm not sure who we have round 1. I haven't really looked that far, but
mate, that's kind of exciting that the world's getting back to normal again.
Yeah, 100%. Because very relieving, I think, and I think it'll be good for the game as well, because obviously, yeah, it's been Super Rugby youth last year and this year, but I think it's about time for all the players in Australia and New Zealand just to get that different type of exposure as well.
Well, I also think that, like, someone said to me once, like, in rugby league, you might be able to go to Papua New Guinea or like Campbelltown, whereas in rugby, you can go all over the world. And like, as a young kid coming into professional rugby, you would have been thinking, fuck yes, I'm playing Super Rugby, get to go to Argentina, Japan, New Zealand. And then all of a sudden that's completely gone and you don't know if it's going to be back again. And now it's starting to come back again. So that's got to feel good. The boys have got to be pumped about that.
Yeah, we're definitely pumped, and we think we can sneak in a few wins there as well. Like we're getting better and better by the training session as well. So
will you play the Aussie teams again? I've literally
no, it's just 5 games, so it'll be all the NZ teams.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Okay, so okay. So if you win that, that'll be good. Any Wallaby talk at all, or you're not even?
No, none of that. I actually met up with the manager and try to get some feedback, and I'm still waiting on that, but I'm keen to see where I can do better, because obviously, I'm pretty driven and I always love working on the things I need to get better at and prove myself. So I've asked for the feedback, so I haven't received any, but
I think that's all you can do, really, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So ask for the feedback. I'm just going to keep knocking on the door and wait until they answer it.
Is there anyone you've played this year where you've gone, oh, they're good in terms of open sides?
You know what? Dickie is surprisingly, he's so fast on the ball. Like, he's real fast. Like, if you give him a split second, he's on it, and he'll steal.
That's Richard Hardwick.
Richard Hardwick, yeah. He's super fast on the ball. So the speed for him getting in from being upright and being in his strong pilfering position is pretty impressive. So he's definitely stood out to me a fair bit this year.
So you would have known him from Perth as well.
Yeah. I've worked a bit with Dickie. He's a good man. He actually is from the same club in Perth as me.
Okay, that's cool. Well, what about life after footy? Have you had any thoughts of what you want to do when it's all said and done?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of, me and my missus, we're onto it. So we're buying a house we're settling on the land in June.
Oh, nice.
So getting a property there, then I'm just going to keep, ticking those over, because she's a Sparky, so she earns pretty good money as well. So we got a good thing going there. So we're going to hopefully get a few properties, get that ticking over, and then I got a few ideas in the works. I'm very entrepreneurial. My dad, being in the Italian Neapolitan businessman, my mum runs her own business as well. So I've always sort of grown up around that.
What do you
think of ideas? But
mate, you and I are very similar with that. I think all day I'm thinking of ideas.
Yeah.
What have you got? Have you got any that you're willing to share, or you're
working
on?
We'll talk in a few weeks maybe. I actually was drawing up a few things today, and I got a business meeting with Cameron Orr probably in the next hour or two.
Mate, I can only imagine that'll be food related.
It could be, but no, I got a pretty good idea in just regards to how we can help high performance teams and club footy teams and stuff. Just being help our players get better.
No, that's beautiful. I think as someone that's been working in a real job for a long time, I would say start all your side hustles now at your age, because when you get to my age, hopefully one of them will pay off.
Yeah, and that's the plan. Like I also want to be focused on footy. That's my number one focus. But now I want to start to maybe get a few properties, just have that ticket over on the side.
Yeah.
Start a little business and then just go from there. And by the time when I'm finished, I'll hopefully be comfortable enough to be like, yep, sweet. So I'm somewhat secure. I can start really pursuing something I'm really passionate about. But I don't really know what that is yet. What I'm really passionate about, I'm still a bit up in the air, but I'm sure I'll find something.
So, do you think you're just going to try things and see what you like?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty. Like I said, I'm entrepreneurial, so I'm sure I'm going to think of something. Like I've got a few little ideas, like I said, and hopefully one of them pays off and becomes something big. Never know.
Yeah.
Just wait and see.
Mate, there's no better time to start a business. What about studying? Any interest in that at all?
Look, I got pretty bad dyslexia. I'm not really. I feel like I definitely have ADHD. I can't really struggle to sit down and as you can see in this podcast, I'm being very fidgety. I'm very fidgety.
You're doing well.
Yeah. So I don't know. Look, I don't think. Maybe I'll study a bit later on, but at the moment, I tried studying. I completed it, but I completed just a diploma in business. But look, it's all common sense that sort of diploma in business and stuff. What I found it was. So look, maybe I study something a bit more intense, but at the moment, probably not. I reckon.
No, look, I'm kind of with you on that, mate. I've started a couple of businesses. Some of them are going okay, some not okay. And I think you learn way more from actually doing it rather than you're probably like me where you're more of a doer, fuck up, adjust.
Yeah.
Rather than
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what my dad always says as well. He's made a lot of mistakes, but he's done very well for himself as well. And it's just always from doing it. He can't even spell.
Really?
He's just in the moment. Yeah.
He's probably killing it.
Yeah, he's doing well. He does does dentures, so it's a good market for that. Yeah.
There's a very good market.
Yeah.
What about life away from footy? What do you like doing?
This is a tough one for me. So my life away from footy, so the stuff I like doing. So I like mixed martial arts, boxing, and all that stuff. That's really what I'm into. It's so hard to do it in season. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm bashed and bruised after a game. So I can't really do that in season, which has been annoying because that's the only thing I do. I don't really surf. I go for swims all the time, sauna, all that type of stuff. I have 2 dogs. I have a border collie and a German short hair pointer. So believe me, that's a lot of work. So I just take them to the park. But I'm just trying to find something for me at the moment. And it's been a niggle because I can't just go on a Tuesday after training and go punch someone in the head because I'm going to have CTE by the time I'm 30. If that's
you should try. You should try Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, I've done heaps of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but there's always the risk with blowing out. That's probably the worst one. It's because the potential of blowing out your knee in that stuff is so high. And if I blow out my knee or hurt myself, my contract's ripped up. So this trust me, it's my off season. BJJ, it's unreal for footy, but in season it's too risky, it's too hard, and I think boxing is probably the easiest one to do because it's not as hard on your body and it's just more uppers. But it's still that. It's just hard because you train in season, you're so bashed, and you still have to train. You're still doing high K weeks, so it's hard. But I'm trying to find it. And I think the side hustle that I was talking about before, Cameron might be doing is going to be maybe my thing away from footy.
Do you reckon fighting will be something you get into down the track?
100%. Oh, 100%.
As in competitively or just for
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm in close a few times when I was in Perth, I was a bit younger, but I had to drop too much weight to sort of fight because I'm 100. I'm 96 kilos and I'm 180 centimeters.
So you're light heavyweight at the moment.
Yeah, and I'll be going against some tall boys. So going against John Jones. If I went up against John Jones is 6'4", I think, something like that. I'm 5'11", so yeah, rest in peace for me. Again, going against a guy like that.
When I started, well, yeah, I know it'd be terrifying. Like, both my brothers are into martial arts. I've kind of been doing jiu-jitsu on and off for a couple of years. But my brother's like, go and try Muay Thai. And I've gone into the first class I went into was it's like a competition class. So I've never thrown hands in my life, and I've walked in there, and there's all these guys that are actual Muay Thai kickboxers, and they've gone heavy, and I'm like 118 kilos because I was them, and they're like, and I'm looking at these guys, and they're all lighter than me, but similar, like really big guys. And I'm like watching them kick and going, that is fucking terrifying, you know. But you'd fucking love that shit.
Oh, I love it. But it's funny. So did you watch the fight on the weekend?
Mate, Chris Weidman's leg.
Mate, did you watch the slow motion of that? When he kicked it, he didn't realise he was bringing it back, goes to step back on his foot that he broke. He broke and he falls over. Oh, mate, that's disgusting.
Mate, it's funny. You're the kind of sick bastard that would watch that over and over again.
Yeah, I watched it a few times. The funny thing was, I think the last leg break in the UFC like that was actually Anderson Silva kicking Chris Weidman.
It was, yeah.
It was. But
what do you think of Rose's fight?
That's unreal. She's a great competitor. I like the way she sort of handles herself. Just seems like a real nice girl, but like absolute competitor, and like she's a thug Rose. Like she's an absolute. Hey kick, and then when she knocked out Joanna as well, like unreal.
Mate, that just shows how good she is, because those two, Joanna and Weili Zhang or whatever her name is, mate, that fight that they had is one of the best fights I've ever seen. And
her head was mutted as well.
Mate, and she messed them both up like it was nothing. I'm going, mate, a 115-pound girl, what's that, like 50 kilos less, maybe?
Yeah. She's pretty young as well, I think. She was like, I think when she got the champion, she was like 25.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? So what was I going to ask you? Let's finish this soon, bro. I'm super grateful for this. I think this has been really good, and I think people will get a lot out of this.
No, thank you.
No, man, thank you. Who did you look up to growing up? Who was someone in your position that you maybe wanted to emulate?
This is the weird thing about me. Since I've jumped around positions and stuff, and I only moved to open side in 2017. That was my first year of open side, and that's when I did my first year at the end of the year. I did the thing with the Rebels and stuff, so I was pretty keen on pro footy by then. I never really had someone growing up. When I was a winger, I looked up to the Honey Badger, and then by the time I went to 7, I was sort of at the stage when I'll sort of more not really looking up to guys, but more just saying, yeah, this is the guy I want to take their spot. So it's funny. This might be a bit weird, and Hoops probably thinks I'm a freak, but whatever. I don't care. I had Hoops as my background on my phone, not my lock screen, but like once you open your phone for about before I got rid of it when I just came to Tars. So I didn't want the boys to absolutely think I'm an absolute weirdo.
You can't do that. Yeah.
I had it for like 2 years. Just him as my background, just purely because I just was so driven and still am, and just being that number one guy, because he's easily the best. Like he's been the top of the game for so many years. Like youngest player to receive 100 caps, like that is unreal. So that's the guy I want to knock off in a friendly way. Way. Yeah,
mate,
he was the guy. So he was the guy. It's been my background for however many years, 2 years, and that's just what it is.
Mate, if you're going to look up to anyone, I reckon he's someone definitely worth looking up to.
Yeah.
How many more years do you reckon you can play for him?
Play for.
Have you got like a time limit? Like Ida Vea told me he wanted to retire before he was 30. I mean, unfortunately, he had to retire earlier than that due to some injuries. But have you got a plan, or are you just going to go as long as you can?
I have a plan. It's funny. So I haven't opened up this laptop in a while, and when I was waiting for you to send through the link, I saw my rugby timeline from when I was 16 through to this year, and then I remember I made one last year from my timeline from 2021 until the next World Cup. So the World Cup coming on in 2023. So I just go by like every 4 years sort of thing. So my goal is to be in that next World Cup in that starting team, and then from there it will be just keep doing that over and over again. Or maybe go down a different path. I don't know. Like, but at the moment, like I got a few different routes because you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So my 2023 timeline, I have my 3 different routes I want to go down. There's the Wallaby route. I also have potential to I can play for Italy if I wanted to, and do that route if I want. Like, and that will be a good financial thing for me to do. But I'm not all in it. I'm not in it for the money necessarily. But you know, at the end of the day, if I need to do that, I need to do that. So, and there's the number, obviously.
There'll come a point where money becomes important. How many more years? How many more years have you got with the Tars?
I'm off this year. I'm off contract this year. So it's been a tough few months trying to, figure out what I'm going to do and stuff. I still don't know. It's been playing my mind a bit, which I've sort of taken some good learnings from. Like it's been getting to me a little bit and stressing me out a bit because I've also got a missus who's like, what am I doing with my work? This, that. So that has been playing on my mind a bit, but I've sort of brushed it for the time being, and I'm more trying to work that out more towards the back end of the Trans-Tasman, because I don't want to be thinking about stuff in season, to be honest, which it does play in mind a bit, but
100%. And as we were talking about before, like, 21 now, it's how many 21-year-olds have to worry about their job during the middle of their job? So it's just another pressure that people in the real world don't really, not that rugby's not the real world, but that people that aren't in that world may not understand.
Yeah.
Last question, brother. Thank you so much for this. I always ask all my guests, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self? But you were only 18 not that long ago.
Yeah.
So what do you want? What's the right way of wording this? What do you want your 40-year-old to look back and 40-year-old you to look back and say?
So I'm 40 years old and I'm thinking,
and you're like looking back. You're looking back at yourself now, and you're going, what would you say to yourself? Geez, I've asked that terribly.
So what would I be reflecting on? Like,
you know what? I asked that terribly. I'm going because I'm trying to sort of, a lot of kids listen to this. I've got a lot of young guys and girls who listen to this podcast and go, man, you give people the players like you give people such good insights into what it takes to play at an elite level of sport. And I always try and leave like something good at the end that people can take away. So maybe the question is, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Oh, easy. So one thing I definitely would say is that, and it's one thing I sort of live by, and like obviously I'm definitely not the most talented guy. Like I don't really have a good skill set. I'm not necessarily that quick. I'm really small.
You're fucking hard on yourself, by the way.
It's the truth. In my eyes. So like I've always made sure like, so talent's probably not there. So the one thing I can make up for that is my work ethic. So I just make sure every single game, I know in my mind that your brain starts to give up after you've given it 40% of what you're actually capable of. So I try and push that every game to pass that 40 and try and go maybe 60s or 70s and stuff. Like reaching that 100% is near impossible. It's like, if you're realistic about it, like those ultra runners, maybe they'll reach that, those ultra athletes, but in rugby, there's too many stop starts to really reach that. So I try and push for that 60% of absolutely. So by then I'm cooked, if that makes sense.
It
And
does.
I'm always making sure I'll go off that field and I'll go, yeah, I might have made a few mistakes, but I put in the most work out of everyone. So I made the most tackles. I was effective in all my breakdown stuff. Like, yeah, I'll stuff up a fair bit. I'll make a few mistakes, but that's the thing I live by, and I've lived by that since I was super young. I always make sure I'm be the hardest on the field and do all that, and it's done me pretty well so far. Like, that's one of the reasons why I stayed longer at the Rebels, is because I was training hard. It wasn't because I was skillful or anything like that, or because I was a young up and coming player. It was literally because I would absolutely try and smoke anyone that came in front of me, and it did me well. And that's my sort of my reputation I've sort of gained in around clubs, you know, at the Waratahs and when I was at the Force and stuff. So yeah, if that sort of makes sense.
No, it does. It does totally. I lied to you. I got another question on that. When you're reviewing games, how do you look at it? Do you look at, like, do you go, I need to work on this at the breakdown, I need to work on this ball carrying, I need to work on this in defence, and just leave it at a thing for each?
Yeah, I really like working closely with coaches on that, because they always see things I don't see. Like, I will see this breakdown, click on, yeah, that's sweet, but then they will go, yeah, so you could have taken this line differently or this or that, and you might have been more effective. So I try and link closely with coaches and just say, yeah, because I'm not good at looking at clips. That's not really my strong point. So I'll be like, show me something I can work on the breakdown in my tackle or in my, like, defensive movement, and then my attack as well. And sort of get that from their perspective. And then I go, oh, sweet. I literally would have never found that, no matter how many times I watch the clip. So that's what I try and do, and it's worked pretty well for me this year, especially in defence with Gilly, our head coach, that's defence coach.
And do you do, so just say during the week, will you work on that during training, or do you have like an extra session where you'll work on your skills?
Do it at the end in like our extras, in our little extras block of about 15 minutes. I'll, like, you know, I got against the Reds second time round, I got stepped on the inside real bad because I overtracked. So now in my game day, in my captain's run prep, I do movement off the scrum, and I've just added that in. And now that's what I'm trying to do, just adding those little things, because those little mistakes I've made. And now hopefully I won't make that mistake anytime soon. But
there'll always be something to work on. I guess that's the beauty.
100%. There's always something to work on. You can't ever be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect game in my eyes, unless you're a kicker and you kick 10 from 10 or something.
even then, mate, I don't reckon it's that hard.
Yeah.
Mate,
head down, follow through.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, some of them have got fucking big asses and just feel natural. I'm surprised someone like Ori doesn't kick goals.
Mate, he's not skillful with that. He's not good at hand-eye coordination, that bloke.
He does. Let's finish there, buddy. I really appreciate this. I think this has been a really good podcast. You've been really honest, and I think people listening to this will really get something out of it. And, you know, one of the things I wanted to do with this is give people an insight into guys that are playing elite sports. So I think you've been really, really good at that. Thank you, my friend.
Mate. You're a legend. It's good chatting with you. It's been a while.
It has been. So, are you going to play much Shoot Shield this year, you reckon?
Look, hopefully, I'll definitely be keen to play some West Harbour back after Trans Tasman. I'll probably want a few weeks off after that. Me and Cameron are gonna rip in. So,
mate, I'm coaching twos at South this year, buddy. So I'll
unreal.
We'll have a couple of beers after the game when we play,
good.
you guys.
I could be off my beer.
Oh yeah, 6 months. 6 months.
I'll be off by then. But no, it sounds good, mate.
Best of luck for the rest of the year, bud, and enjoy it. Talk to you soon, mate.
See ya.